First, as far as the $1,400 checks, Jared, do you think that, is there any economic argument for why those shouldn't go to a broader group of people? Is there any argument for raising the threshold that you would need to qualify for that? And then I follow up as well.
I think the key argument there is that there are families throughout not just the lower part of the income scale, but in the middle part of the income scale that have been suffering and doing everything they can to get through this crisis. The president has been very clear on an important point here, which is that if you look at teachers, if you look at folks who are in blue-collar professions, if you look at retail workers, healthcare workers, if those folks are unemployed, they can get unemployment coverage and that helps them. But many of those folks have kept their jobs. Many of them are essential workers, yet they've lost hours, they've lost wages, they're struggling to make ends meet. They face nutritional constraints. Often they face foreclosure or eviction moratoria, which, by the way, forbearance when it comes to mortgage does not mean forgiveness. So many of these families are accumulating significant debt that will come due. Now, in terms of the parameters, you asked about this. Let's do just a little bit of wonky policy analysis, if that's okay. There are three parameters in play here when we're talking about the checks. There's the thresholds, where they come in. There's the level. The president has been firm on 1,400 as a level, which, plus the 600 gets you to 2,000. And then there's the phase out. And it's the phase out range that is that I would say is a variable under discussion in negotiations that are ongoing. There hasn't been a conclusion, but as the president has said, he is open to that discussion.
But just as far as what is the economic argument for changing those phase-out numbers? Why shouldn't you just go with what you originally proposed?
I think the argument is one that we've heard consistently from some critics, which say that those at the very top of the scale, when you get into the realm of $300,000, I think has been mentioned. I think it's arguable that those folks don't need the checks. I think what's important to the president is that we don't lose sight of people in the middle of the income scale who continue to struggle with both the health and economic fallout from this crisis. And these checks target them effectively and efficiently. By the way, this is an important thing that comes from some work by the group ITEP, Institute for Taxation and Economic Policy. If you look at the distribution, who gets the checks, it actually, virtually none of it goes to the very top of the scale, and the vast majority goes to the middle and the bottom. Their percentage gains in income from the checks are, double digits compared to those at the top of the scale. So I think that we have to understand that targeting in this case means reaching families at the low end, at the middle end, families who have been hit and are struggling with this crisis.
Okay, super quick follow-up. Can I just one more? Do you think that just beyond this bill, that there needs to be more reform around automatic stabilizers, unemployment insurance? Do you need to do more so that the next time we hit something like this, we have a solution?
The president has on occasion talked about this point and said that if our automatic stabilizers are key to economic indicators or health indicators, that is a potentially useful policy advance. I know that Treasury Secretary Yellen has talked about that as well. Right now, we're kind of past the stage of thinking about right now, we're really at a point where we have a package that is calibrated to meet the urgency of the moment. And that's the American Rescue Plan. So that's what we want to focus on. There are all kinds of interesting policy discussions we could and should have, and I think that's one of them. But for now, what we need to do is get this package out there and meet the urgency of the moment.